Welcome to the Mrs. P, Mrs. the Classroom series, and to start it off, I thought I would share one of the most difficult things I've ever done in the classroom in terms of challenge for myself, but it was one of the coolest things to do with my classroom. So this goes back a couple of years when I was living down in National Park and we had this big art show coming up. And I don't know how I made a segue into this, but I thought, why not do some sewing with my class? Now back then I taught years 0 to 4 in one class and there was about 25 children, and I was just thinking, why not I didn't want to do any art, we do lots of art in the class, lots of pictures and things. I wanted to do something a little bit different. So I thought, why not do some whole class sewing? It was one of the hardest projects to do with children that I've ever committed to doing. We're talking, we sewed and put together little fairy houses. Now I actually still have mine somewhere and I'm going to include some pictures on here so you can see exactly what we did. And we worked through this process, I want to say, for about a month and a half. Every afternoon we sewed a little bit. Now we practiced sewing first of all with plastic needles and felt, and we practiced our stitches. There were of course a few challenges along the way, like threading the thread through the needle eye. That was particularly tricky. A lot of fine motor skills of having to, your up and down stitching, but the skills that the students learnt in this particular project was amazing. Consistency, persistence, all around our mindset, around doing tricky things, around fine motor skills and having to actually create this outcome. These looked so cool. We put together a fairy house little sewing thing to showcase for our art project. They were the absolute coolest things. One of the hardest things I think I've ever done teaching, taking on a project like that. And I think I was a little bit naive because it was just me. I found a plan, I don't know where from, I think it probably was on Pinterest, of a model, and we had to trace that onto our felt and choose our colors and then what color stitching did we want. But it was one of the coolest projects I've ever done, hands down. It was just so cool, such a great way to engage into what we were doing. A little bit out the box, can't say for art, I've done a lot of sewing, and one of the reasons why I miss the classroom.